Hey everybody, it's Kelly Cooper and welcome to another Facebook Live video. Today I want to talk about the idea of how more isn't always better. And that's just applies to a lot of things in life, but obviously I'll probably be talking about it right in the context of energy work and personal growth work and stuff. But before I get into that, I wanted to make an announcement. I will be doing another call series starting this Saturday, June, I was going to say January, June 22nd, Weight Loss from the Inside Out. Pretty self-explanatory title. It's all about approaching weight loss from an energetic perspective. This can be one of the trickier manifestations for people, and I think for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're very much in a state of resistance when we're trying to do what we kind of, right? We just hate our body, whether you've been struggling with your weight all your life or maybe you've gained a lot of weight over time and whatever, and you used to be skinny or whatever it is, right? I had a lot of personal experience with this topic, which is why I wanted to do it. There was a period of a few years where I had gained just a lot of weight. I was heavier than I ever had been. Externally, there was no reason I should have gained this weight and I should have been this heavy, doing things I should have lost, all this stuff, right? And I just exploring it so personally in my own life, I just had a lot of interesting insights and I saw a lot of interesting things happening that when I went inward with it really in a true way, my body transformed in a way that I'd kind of given up on because it just seemed like, okay, I guess this is my body now. So if you're somebody that this is a manifestation you're actively working on and you're struggling, or it's something you would like to approach from an energetic level, but you never really thought of it that way because you can't really see the link, or you just didn't really think to approach it from that space, I think you'll find what I have to say very helpful. So if you head over to livelifemadetoorder.com, you'll see a link in my menu there to register for it. I also left the direct link to the page in my description of the video here. Like my last call series, it is pay what you choose pricing, so you can pay whatever you can afford to pay. Copies of the call are provided. This isn't meant to be some like one-off, event or whatever. You can access the recordings if you can't make it live. They're meant to be a resource you can go back to over and over again. There'll be a Q&A portion where people can ask me questions, whether through online written chat or speak with me directly live, in person, talking. And there'll be assignments with each call in between to kind of integrate what you learned in that class that day. It'll be a series of 4 calls, again, starting on June 22nd. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it will be live. And again, copies are recorded, so don't worry if you can't make it live, you'll still be able to participate. So yeah, back to the topic at hand. More isn't always better. When it comes to energy work, we're going to have to do some sort of work technically, right? Because if we've been living in a reality where we have all this stuff we don't like in it, our energy is obviously contributing to that somehow. We have a lot of deeply ingrained ways of thinking and being and responding to the situations in our life. We have these certain beliefs, right? So getting off autopilot, we have to make some conscious effort in engaging our inner world so we can break up that programming, or else, right, it continues to dominate our life. But what happens sometimes is we can kind of go overboard with the energy work, thinking, well, the more I do, the faster I can change my energy, which means the faster you'll get your stuff, right? We're just in a rush to get our stuff, and I just try to get what we don't have. And I was inspired to do this topic because someone had recently written me telling me about all of this stuff that they were doing and how much they were struggling. And they were very diligent in their energy work, and they were very committed. But I imagine that was probably one of the main things actually working against the person, because again, more isn't always better. And this applies to a lot of things in life. More exercise might not necessarily be better to lose more weight. There might be at some point there's diminishing returns, right? Working more overtime might not always be better, right? Because once you get taxes factored in, you're actually not making that much more money working all these extra hours. More, again, and more personal development work. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lead to faster transformation. Now, when you are more consciously engaged with your energy, will that lead to faster transformation in and of itself? Yeah, because you're more aware of what's happening and then you're more aware of what you need to change. But the actual act of the personal development work itself, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because in and of itself, those things have no power. So doing more of that stuff, if you're not getting really a true emotional benefit from it, it's not actually serving its purpose, it's probably not going to help you that much. Saying affirmations 100 times a day won't be better than saying them 50 times a day unless you're actually getting some real emotional oomph each time you're engaging in those affirmations. Just saying the affirmations in and of themselves, it doesn't guarantee any sort of change. So again, doing them more or doubling your affirmations, or doubling the amount of time you look at your vision board, or adding all these different elements to your manifesting and energy routines and rituals and what have you. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to leave you better off energetically. And at the very least, it won't do anything for you, because again, in and of themselves, these things have no power to change your energy or your world in any way. Affirmations are just words. A vision board is just pictures put together. Again, no power in and of themselves. Their power is in when you engage them, you feel better. You start focusing differently. You activate energy that might be absent in your life now, that might be hard to activate if you were to just look at trying to activate it given focusing on your current circumstances. There might be not much there right now for you to get excited about or feel grateful about or whatever, right? So that's where they can serve a very helpful, important purpose for people. That's where their value is. But again, in and of themselves, they have no power. So just doing a lot of stuff, thinking, well, that will lead to faster transformation if I do more energy work, if I do more personal growth work, if I throw another workbook in the mix, if I double the amount of time I say my affirmations or whatever it is, right? More is not always better. And like I said, at the very least, it will do nothing for you. But at the very worst, it will actually leave you worse off, because again, if you're not actually getting an emotional benefit from doing these things, you're likely doing it from a space of, again, thinking just doing it will somehow lead to a change in your circumstances, and then you get frustrated. You're doing it from a space of intensely resisting your reality now, intensely resisting your emotions now that don't feel good, and you're hoping all of this action will take all of that away. Will make a change in your reality, will get you somewhere emotionally that you want to be more quickly and more easily. So again, we think, well, let me do more. If this stuff really makes you feel good and you're engaging your energy consciously more of the time in terms of minutes and hours, technically, yes, that could lead to faster transformation, because you're actually changing your energy in more significant ways in a shorter amount of time. But again, if it's not actually helping you, more of that work is probably going to work against you. It's not necessary to do more to get faster results or to change your energy more significantly. All you need to do is in your mind make conscious choices. That's where the true change comes. You technically don't need any tool or technique to do that. But again, most of us, we're going to find benefit. It's going to help give us some structure, something to focus on, so it will be of value, but only if it's actually making us feel better. So again, for a lot of us, this work, at the very least, again, it might just be doing nothing for us at all. It's not really helping us in any way. But for a lot of us, it's actually leaving us worse off, because we're more resistant to our current reality. We're more resistant to our emotional shortcomings and trying to change these things in our energy. We're more focused on what we don't have. We're more focused on what we don't like. We're more focused on all these future outcomes we're hoping to avoid by trying to change our energy now and get the money, so we don't have to worry about how we're going to pay our rent next month, or if this thing happens or that thing happens. If I can get this manifestation now, this thing that I worry might happen 5 months or 6 months from now, then that won't happen, right? That's where all of our focus is. And in that energy, you see, it's very hard to manifest the things we want. It's hard to manifest the opportunities, the insights, the encounters, the inspiration, the solutions, because our energy is not a match to any of that stuff. We're just focused on the problem, what we don't like, what we don't have, what we hope doesn't happen in the future. So yeah, if you like engaging your energy in those official personal growth sorts of ways, and it's actually making you feel good, do it as much as you want. Do 50 things a day if it truly makes you feel good. But if you're not enjoying it, no matter how much you're doing, it's not going to help, because it's not actually serving its purpose. It's not changing the energy. Don't think that automatically doing more personal growth work, doing more energy work will automatically necessarily lend itself to things changing more quickly for you, for your energy changing more quickly. There's no direct correlation between that. And again, for most of us, the more we do, it's probably actually working against us at some point. We're not getting the benefit that we think we might be getting from it, because our mind thinks if we just do enough, eventually we'll see some sort of movement. So if the mind thinks that way, then the more we do, the more movement we'll see more quickly. That's how the mind sees it, but that's not how it works with energy. The world of energy operates very different than the world of action. So yeah, more isn't necessarily better. If you have a good 5 minutes in the morning where you affirm or journal or whatever it is you like to do that makes you feel good, and you truly feel good doing it, that 5 minutes might not seem like a lot of time, but if your energy is in a purer space and you're really focusing positively and you really feel good when you do that, that is amazing. You don't feel like you need to do anything else throughout the day. Don't think, well, if I do that again another 10 times in the day, then I'll get 10 times more the vibe. If you truly feel good, yeah, maybe. But if you're just doing it as rote work, or you're doing it again because you think if I just do it more, that will make things happen more quickly, that's not going to happen. So don't feel pressure to do it unless it's feeling really good. Know that technically you don't need to do any of those things. You don't need to do a tool or technique to make an inner shift. The inner shift at the end of the day, it comes down to consciously choosing to think this way, consciously choosing to release on beliefs that don't serve us. You don't need to do anything to make that happen. There's nothing outside of you you need to help facilitate this decision. You just do it yourself in your own head. So the conscious engagement with our energy, it's important, and we're going to need to do it, but it doesn't always have to come in the form of some sort of official personal growth work, an official tool or technique. It could just be a matter of you sitting down and thinking at the end of the day, okay, how did I feel today? Like, was there any energetic issues going on? Yeah, I kind of freaked out when this thing happened before. Like, why did I respond that way? And what was going on energetically? What was being triggered that made me respond with the anger or the fear or the this or the that, the sadness, the whatever, right? So, yeah, more is not always better when it comes to personal growth work, and especially when it comes to energy work. For most of us, the more is going to work against us because we're doing it from a space of resisting where we are now, resisting our energy now, resist. I hate this. I hate that. I don't like this. Let me do all this work so I can make this outside change, and then that will make me feel better. So again, from that energetic space, the energy work in and of itself probably isn't giving you the benefit that it could potentially give you if you were doing it from a different space energetically, and doing more of it from that space energetically. It's not only is it probably not doing anything for you, it's actually probably leaving you worse off, and it's making you more anxious and more tense and more focused on what you don't have, and you're not really focusing on changing your energy so much as just trying to get something you don't have. These are very, very different journeys. Our mind doesn't really see the difference between the two because it thinks all of this stuff you're doing is actually changing your energy. So it's like, well, no, I am trying to change my energy. It's like kind of, but not really. You're just trying to get something you don't have. You're not actually making a lasting transformation that will bring all these things to you over the long term and make these things the new norm in your life. You're just trying to get something you don't have right now in the immediate moment to make a bad feeling go away. And that's a very, very different journey, right? So yeah, more is not always better. I kind of think of an example. I have a couple of years ago, I did something with like one of my muscles kind of in my legs. I injured it somehow. I don't know what I did. At around the time I was working out very vigorously, and I think I probably was doing something, and I moved my body in the wrong way, and I was working out in a way where I probably should have been getting more guidance from the people instructing me, but they weren't giving it to me. So I probably was just like doing shit wrong, and I just injured myself somehow. And this injury, a couple of years now, it still bothers me every once in a while. I could still feel it, and when I do certain things, it aggravates it. And for a while, I was doing exercises, stretches that specifically targeted the muscle. But I was probably doing the stretch too long because I found after a while that was, I think, aggravating it too. So I'm like, okay, doing nothing, the stretching, I got to stop doing that. I thought that was helping, but it actually wasn't. And for a long time, I didn't do the stretches anymore. But then a couple of months ago, it started acting up again more frequently, and it was bothering me a lot. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to stretch it a little bit. So instead of doing the long stretch that I was doing, holding it for several minutes, let me just try a different stretch that's only a minute. And I've been doing that pretty much every day, and the injury hardly bothers me at all anymore. I really don't feel it anymore. Nothing really aggravates it. So it's a good example, right? More isn't always better. I assume that, well, I needed to stretch it for several minutes, and if that was aggravating it, then it was better doing nothing at all. I didn't think in my mind, well, maybe scaling it back and stretching it for a shorter amount of time, I get the stretch in that benefits it, but then I'm not aggravating it too much by stretching it too much and aggravating it and then actually making it worse or leaving me in the same position, right? So it's like more is not always better. Stretching it for a longer amount of time or more intensely, that wasn't going to heal it any better. But stretching it for a shorter amount of time, not as intensely, it's actually working very well, and it feels better, and it doesn't bother me as much anymore. So yeah, that I just wanted to give that example because it's a good example, right? It's just like again, we automatically think all the time more is better, especially with energy work. The more I work on my energy and the more stuff I do, then I'll change my energy faster. Which, why do we want to change our energy faster? Because we want to get our stuff more quickly, right? That's always about what can I do to get my stuff as quickly as possible. And more energy work, when it's genuine and you're engaged with your energy more consciously a larger part of the day, yeah, technically that is a benefit to you and things could happen more quickly. But most of us engaging with our energy that amount of time, it's not benefiting us, again, right? Because we're not feeling good. It's not feeling great and light and breezy. And we're not doing it with the purpose of cultivating positive emotion. We're just trying to make negative emotion go away that we think is getting in the way of getting our stuff, right? So yeah, that's it, guys. More isn't always better. So if you're doing a lot thinking that's going to be better, not necessarily. A few minutes a day of true engagement that truly feels good, that will get you much further than engaging an hour a day with lukewarm energy activation that's actually not making you feel much better. So yeah, that's it, guys. Again, head on over to livelifemadetorder.com if you want to register for the call series, Weight Loss from the Inside Out. And yeah, that's it. Have a good day or night. Bye-bye. Hi, Kathy. How are you? I just saw that now if I missed it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye, everybody.